Firefactor is part of RiskFactor, a free online tool created by the nonprofit First Street Foundation that makes it easy to learn about a property's current and future wildfire risk, and understand how its future wildfire risk is changing over time because of a changing environment. Firefactor simplifies this complex fire risk data into an easy-to-understand score that helps people protect themselves and their property. All properties have a fire factor score from 1 to 10, from minimal to extreme, that tells you a property's potential of wildfire impacting it over the life of a 30-year mortgage. Fire factor aggregates how risks are accumulating and changing over time, which means even very small chances of wildfire occurring today can add up to bigger chances over time. The peer-reviewed model used by Firefactor was created thanks to an unprecedented partnership with top climate scientists, modelers, data scientists, and technologists to ensure data is accessible, accurate, and actionable. The model allows Firefactor to incorporate risk based on a home's probability of being in a wildfire, the fire intensity, and the exposure to flying embers. Even a property that hasn't experienced wildfire in the recent past could still face risk today and into the future. To start, the model incorporates wildfire fuels, such as trees and other vegetation, based on the U.S. Forest Service's fuels dataset. Fuels have also been estimated in suburban neighborhoods based on patterns observed in 550 historic wildfires. Using probable ignition locations based on historic fires, the model then considers the past weather patterns that impact fuels by making them hotter and drier, as well as the weather, such as wind, that helps spread fires further. It uses the past 10 years of weather data from NOAA to provide the full range of fire weather conditions for today's risk and considers how future weather conditions will change. It then simulates over 100 million wildfires to see which are likely to grow and cause property damage. It outputs over 8 million significant fires that are then used to calculate risk. The model used by Firefactor includes publicly available and third-party data to identify property boundaries and buildings. The building's location is then used to determine the likelihood of the home being in a wildfire based on how many times the 8 million simulated fires reached the home. It's important to note that wildfire reaching the building doesn't necessarily equate to the home being completely destroyed. How wildfire will impact a home depends on the vulnerability of that home to the fire's intensity and embers that reach it. The fire's height, the nearby vegetation, and the home's building materials have a lot to do with the actual damage the home may experience. RiskFactor.com also provides information from previously recorded wildfires since 1984 and highlights the number of fires that have come within 20 miles of the property. It also captures thousands of up-to-date community fire prevention measures, such as prescribed burns, thinning, fire breaks, and other forest management practices, which helps reduce the fuel in these areas and is continually adding more as more preventative measures are taken. Like getting blood work to determine your risk for certain illnesses, Firefactor should be viewed as a diagnostic tool that can help alert homeowners or buyers to the potential wildfire risk facing a property over the life of a 30-year mortgage. But just because something could happen doesn't mean that it will. Although unlikely, a home with an extreme fire factor may never experience a wildfire, and a home with a minimal fire factor could. Having that information allows you to then consult a wildfire specialist or local fire station who can help you learn more, evaluate your risk, and help you find ways to protect yourself. Government-driven national wildfire risk data is available from the Wildfire Risk to Communities program from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Forest Service. The site is intended to compare risk nationally or between states and counties, not specific addresses. It does not adjust risk based on more recent fires or changing environmental conditions and considers only the current risk to communities based on observed wildfires prior to 2014. Most homeowners' insurance typically includes fire coverage, but in some areas, this will need to be purchased separately. While a property's fire factor score does not determine whether or not the fire insurance is recommended, it can help you better assess how to protect your investment into the future. When you know your risk potential, you can take action to better protect yourself, your home, your business, and your family. That's why there's information about what you can do before, during, and after a wildfire to protect you and ways to help reduce your wildfire risk right on riskfactor.com.